Hi everyone, my name is Yuchen. I'm a co-founder of Genuine Impact. I've also been a professional investment manager for more than a decade. And from today onwards, I'd like to create this video series and talk about the general trend, opportunity and risk in the financial market, and hope you find it useful. And first of all, I'd like to do a quick recap of what's been happening in the market over the past few months, which has been very challenging and dramatic, and especially the speed of which things has changed is really unprecedented, given the amount of high growth names which were very popular during the early part of the COVID crisis has dropped more than 50 to 70% in the space of 3 months, and that's something not many people has experienced. The main reason for that change or in market sentiment is because of the change of view regarding inflation by the major central banks, and especially if we look at the Federal Reserve, they've started to realize inflation is here to stay around November last year, and they've changed their narrative around inflation, no longer describing it as transitory, but also something that we have to potentially live with in the months or years to come. And because of these changes in policy direction, all the central banks is effectively saying we are going to move away from the accommodative monetary policies and moving towards a more tightening cycle. That means less liquidity in the market and tighter credit in the economy, and therefore these combinations are very tough for companies with growth potentials, and as they're going to be facing higher interest rates going forward, and a more expensive form of credit in order to support their growth rate. And that's something reflected already in the market in this particular sector, and we need to keep an eye on how things are going, and especially at the speed of which the Fed is going to be tightening its interest rates, because liquidity and credit are essentially the very key ingredient for any bull market, so that we need to really focus on the Fed's narrative and how they are changed in the coming month. And looking ahead into the next few weeks, there are two main areas which are likely to impact the market sentiments going forward. And number one is, of course, the ongoing invasion of Ukraine by Russia, which started last week. And any development in the war itself or escalation to potentially a nuclear conflict, which is of course unimaginable, and are likely to impact the overall risk sentiments in the market. And of course, currently the most affected sectors are financials and commodity sector, which the direct result of the sanction placed on Russia by the leading economies in the West. And of course, the long-term impact to the economy of those sanctions will still remain to be seen, and may take a long time to play out eventually. But its reaction to the market at the moment is been pretty significant. And of course, the second area of focus in the coming 2 weeks, particularly on the 16th of March, is the FOMC meeting, or the meeting where the Federal Reserve is going to decide on the magnitude of the interest rate hikes. I think it's becoming a market consensus that everyone expecting the Fed to hike interest rates, which has also been clearly communicated by the senior officials of the Federal Reserve in the past week or so. But the question will be whether to go with a 25 basis point hike or 50 basis point hike. I think that's something the market is anticipating to become crystallized in the coming meeting on the 16th of March. And if the Fed is going to give any guidance on how soon they are likely to normalize the interest rates, or how soon they're going to start the monetary tightening process by introducing quantitative tightening, i.e. reducing liquidity in the market and reducing the size of its balance sheet, and how soon that's going to happen in 2022. So that will play arguably a bigger part, especially for the US equities, as that's the direct impact on the level of liquidity and credit in the market. So how can we make sense of all these uncertainties and therefore best position ourselves in this challenging market environment? To answer this question, we have to look back at the history of different generations of financial crises and business cycles or liquidity cycles, where we'll see that the companies that typically deliver long-term good results for the shareholder are the ones that have strongest fundamentals and ability to bounce back from crisis and liquidity cycles. And therefore, these are the type of companies we should be focusing on when doing research, and make sure that they have all these same attributes that can survive financial crisis and liquidity cycles. And second of all, it is very important to acknowledge the fact that volatility level is likely to remain heightened in weeks or even months to come. So having a very diversified portfolio is extremely important in this environment in order to eliminate any single sector or single country risk, so that your long-term performance is properly managed on the downside. And thirdly, it's important also to look at what's been happening already in the past 4 months or 5 months, given the correction that's incurred already in the market, and to identify the opportunity that are currently reasonably priced, and adding to those names potentially on a dollar cost averaging basis, so that you are not exposed to a single name or a single sector by making some rush decisions. So by taking all these combinations, and you're likely to have an investment strategy that can work out for the longer term. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Please give us a follow on YouTube and social media platforms, and we'll be back next week.